Welcome back to our channel. Danny and Omi here, coming to you back from the den. We're here to talk to you about the Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 4 called The Siege.
Right.
And in this episode, it was another side mission, right? But we did get some valuable information and as we kind of progressed through the episode. But very briefly, what was your thought on this episode?
You know, I liked it, even though it was like a side mission. I really enjoyed it. We saw characters that we have met before. Cara Dunes was in this. Carl Weathers' character, Grief Karga, was also in this, and he also directed it. So that was really cool. And what's funny, I was actually thinking about when we were gonna see these characters again.
Right.
And didn't we talk about that in the last recap? We were just mentioning how all these characters that Mando meets along the way, at some point they're gonna come back together. Although I don't think that this is the last time we see them in this episode, particularly with Cara Dunes.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like
she's
her.
pretty cool, and
it seems like there's gonna be more to her.
Right, there's a storyline for her specifically.
Right.
Developing.
You know, the last time we saw her, she was just out on some planet hiding out, and now she's the marshal.
Right.
So she's making something of herself,
and
she pretty much cleaned up the town. You know, before we get to Navarro, we had this nice comedic scene interaction between Mando and Baby Yoda. You know, obviously the Razor Crest is still in pieces, you know, limping along. Before they go off to find the Jedi, they have to make a pit stop and get their ship fixed. But, you know, we had that little scene and, you know, it was a fun little interaction.
Yeah, it was Baby Yoda trying to fix some wires on the Razor Crest, which was hilarious. He was like in this very tiny space, and Mando's giving him instructions like, oh, you got to put the red wire where the blue wire was, and trying to talk to how he would talk to a child. Which is really funny. And you see Baby Yoda kind of just looking at the wires like, you know, and at some point he does touch both wires, and
right. And it's funny because you know it's gonna happen, but you're like, don't touch the wires. So
yeah, that was a cool interaction. Another father-son moment. I feel, you know, that companionship.
They're becoming this unit,
right?
And we're seeing that development between the relationship grow each episode.
You know, now they say that, now I wonder in future episodes how that interaction will be when they have to both kick butt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Baby Yoda using the Force, Mando just, you know, using his own skills. Like, that'll be interesting. Yeah,
because at some point we're gonna see Baby Yoda be a little bit more active.
Totally.
And, you know, another funny moment, and this is after Mando arrives to Navarro. He meets Karga and Cara Dune. They need Mando's help, but before they go talk business, they go drop off Baby Yoda in school with a protocol droid.
They're always dropping him off somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we gotta get the little Baby Yoda adventures, right?
It's true.
Which I'm glad that they're kind of doing a little bit more of that this season, where we're seeing the child be his own little character. He's not just there for the sake of being cute.
Right.
Now he's just there for the sake of laughter and joy to our lives.
Right, and he's not just the asset. You know, speaking of laughter, I found a couple of Baby Yoda memes.
So stick around for the end of this episode. We're gonna go ahead and talk about some Baby Yoda memes. And when they go drop off Baby Yoda at school, and they're paying attention to the protocol droid. There's this boy eating his little blue macaroons.
And Baby Yoda's kind of looking at them, sort of like the way he looked at the eggs, like, yo, I want some.
Like he's always hungry. Well, he's a growing boy. What can we say?
And he kind of at some point extends his hand out, like, and the boy ignores him, says no, right?
Yeah, the kid, he like make sure that the teacher isn't looking, and then he's like, no.
He uses the Force to get the macaroons, and all of a sudden the kid goes and sees Baby Yoda eating the blue macaroons, and it's sort of like, well, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, and I'm surprised that at last the child the entire episode. Like, I thought he would have devoured the macaroons.
Yeah, totally. It looked like he still had the whole pack.
Yeah.
But we see the blue macaroons again later on towards the end, which was hilarious.
Yeah. So, Cara Dune and Grief Karga are talking to Mando about Navarro. They've pretty much liberated it from, villainy and tyranny and the scum of the universe. There's still an Imperial base at Navarro, and they want to clear it out. What are they still doing there? Why haven't they left? So that's why they go to investigate. And that's pretty much the summary of this episode.
Right.
Hey, there's a place we gotta blow up. Let's go blow it up. But we did get some reveal during the side mission, so it wasn't necessarily just a filler.
Right.
Some important things did happen, and information came to light.
They end up finding a lab, which was really interesting, because the first thing you see when they walk into the lab is these sort of tanks, and you see a floating figure.
Yeah.
What to me resembled Snoke. That was really interesting, and so they were a little confused. Cara's all like, "Oh, I thought this was just a regular base," and Ruth was like, "Well, I thought it was." And anyway, they investigate and find out they have been experimenting with clones. And so in these experimentations, they find out that the bodies that, I'm assuming the ones in the tanks, have been rejecting the blood. And they don't specifically say what blood just yet. They do talk about, cloning and how the donor has a higher M count, which we believe the M count is for
the midi-chlorians.
The midi-chlorians.
What I appreciate about The Mandalorian is that they do a really good job connecting the prequels, the original trilogy, and now we kind of see how they're linking to the sequel trilogies. And we see that scientist from season 1 who had drawn the blood from Baby Yoda, and they see sort of like a hollow message coming from him, and he's talking about the experiments. He's talking about how they ran out of blood and
these failed experiments. He did mention the volunteer.
He wanted to make sure that they halted any further experiments, to prevent anything from happening to the volunteer. Who's that volunteer? We don't know. It could be anybody.
Right. The transmission also mentioned that they have exhausted the samples, the blood, that they took from the
asset. Yeah.
From the asset, which in the beginning we saw they drew blood from Baby Yoda, and they couldn't take too much without killing him.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna find out more later on what that whole experimentation is about, and who that floating figure is. I hope.
And we have to see more of it, right? Because to your point, looking at those tanks, because there were a few tanks. It wasn't just one.
It wasn't just one.
It kind of mirrored that scene from Rise of Skywalker, where you see a tank with Snoke, and Palpatine is saying, Snoke, was planted, or he made Snoke.
I made you.
And that's what's kind of fun about these episodes, where they're giving you these little breadcrumbs, to follow this story along. Once they kind of get that reveal that Moff Gideon is still alive, because Mando was under the impression that he was dead after that TIE fighter crash landed. He realized, like, oh, they're still coming for the child. So he goes ahead, and we see Cara Dune and Grief Karga trying to escape the facility. So they go off to get that transport that they saw earlier in the episode, and we have a really cool chase sequence.
They get on that transport, and they pretty much fly off the Imperial base, and they land on their original
speeder, the little speeder that they had at the beginning.
That they came in, and then you see these stormtroopers on their speeders taking off. And what was funny about that is that they're taking off and chasing after them, but they end up crashing into...
Yeah, there were two that they just kind of collided with one another.
Just another reminder of how awful stormtroopers
could be.
Right? Yeah, the chasing was cool because they were going through the lava flow. Cara Dune is really awesome in driving the transport, and she ends up crashing into one of them.
One of them just kind of pulls up beside her.
Yeah, she just sort of crashes them into the wall. Grief.
He's manning the guns.
He's manning the guns, and he ends up shooting one off of their roof. he ends up exploding himself because he was going to detonate them. But yeah, that was a really cool sort of chase scene.
Then we see some TIE fighters. So we have about 3 or 4 TIE fighters coming after them. Yeah. We get a last minute save from Mando. He comes in the Razor Crest with some really fancy maneuvering, which was really cool. I will say the action sequences on this episode were really good.
Yeah, good job, Carl Weathers.
This show has been really good with, bringing in diverse directors, different directors to bring in their different styles and flavor to the show.
Yeah. So the last episode was actually directed by Bryce.
Right.
A female director. Which was really cool, so I like the diversity.
So, once Mando takes out the remaining TIE fighters, Grief Karga offers to buy him a drink. Everyone wants to buy Mando a drink. Mando's just kind of off. He's like, hey, we're just going to keep on going about our business. We'll call it even. Thanks for fixing the ship. One of the aliens that were repairing his ship at the beginning of the episode, he was looking suspicious,
really suspicious. He kind of looked back at Mando when he was walking away with Cara Dune. We caught that. We were like, oh, that was weird interaction. And we see at the end of the episode that he was actually like a spy.
Yeah, he was a spy for an Imperial officer.
Right.
They pretty much install a tracking beacon.
Yeah.
Right, to track the Razor Crest. Imperial officer gets the information. She goes off to talk to Moff Gideon, lets him know that, hey, we're tracking the Razor Crest. And his question to the Imperial officer was...
does Mando still have the asset?
Right, does he still have the asset? They're going after Mando. Now they know where they're going. So I think this is where we're going to get a nice pickup in the show where we're going to see potentially some interaction between Moff Gideon, Mando. If he does end up meeting with Ahsoka Tano, are those interactions going to happen with that? Moff Gideon was in this room and it looked like they were working on some special type of troopers. He's getting an army ready.
Yeah, they look like the Death Troopers.
Right, they look like Death Troopers. It was a little hard to kind of make out the details. Like we mentioned, it was a very straightforward episode.
Yeah.
There was some good action sequences. We got a little bit of information around the cloning process and what they need Baby Yoda for. So overall, what did you think of the episode?
I loved it. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was good to see the old characters again, Cara Dune.
So we see Carson Teva meet with Cara Dune, and he's talking to her.
He pretty much ends up giving her like this badge. Isn't that the Rebel Alliance?
Yeah, it was the Rebel Alliance sigil.
Yeah.
He kind of just leave the badge there and...
Like an invitation, open invitation.
Right. He mentioned that he was part of the rebellion as well, that he fought during the time when Alderaan was destroyed. He asked her, did you lose anyone? And her response...
I lost everyone.
He's trying to get her to cooperate. He tells her that there's these incidents happening. The core worlds, they don't see it, but, out in the outer rims, people are starting to see these isolated events. And he's trying to get to the bottom of it. But it keeps her thinking. Will we see Cara Dune get more involved with the New Republic?
I think so. I think so. I think it'll be a cool and interesting development for her character. Her journey from the beginning of the series, it's been interesting. She was kind of like a loner, off on her own, and now we see her, a marshal and taking care of a town and taking
with purpose.
With purpose.
It'd be interesting to see how these characters connect to the overall Star Wars saga.
Yep.
Thank you for sticking with us. For the next few minutes, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a few memes, memes that you can relate to. It's all about the Baby Yoda. And Omi's going to go ahead and go over some of these memes.
Yeah. So the first meme I want to share is me trying to figure out how wash your hands translates to buy all the toilet paper. How did it translate to buy all the toilet paper? We will never know.
Yeah. Some people dry their hands with toilet paper.
Sure. Next meme. When you want to throat punch somebody, but you're getting right with the Lord. Ooh, can somebody relate? Because I can relate. But I'm trying to get right with the Lord, so.
Amen.
Amen. Theme number 3. Instagram versus real life. Now, this is a good one because it's Baby Yoda and the original Yoda.
Well, that was me pre-corona and then post-corona. Or current corona. So.
Another meme about this ongoing pandemic. My mom watching the news about coronavirus. Now, I know all Hispanics get this reference because that is Vicks Vapor Rub.
Or like our moms would call it Vivaporu.
Vivaporu.
It cures everything.
Everything. Put it on your feet, your cold is going to go away. So this next meme I can also relate to. When your husband tells you no, so you kind of just stare at him until he makes the right decision.
Except it should have been changed when your wife tells you no. All right, halfway through. We're almost there.
Almost there. Oh, Danny, I think you can relate to this.
I'm going to read this one. Me getting to leave work early. And even working remote from home, I will get in my car, stick my head out the window, just so I can feel this way.
The next one is for all the foodies out there. When Mandel didn't put chicken nuggies in your lunchbox. He totally gave him that look. Yeah, he did just like look at the box.
That's how I felt one day when I got to work and my sandwich was just half a sandwich instead of a whole sandwich.
How'd you arrive to that?
You packed it up.
Okay. All right, well. Okay, this next meme I think we can all relate to.
Me admiring my food in the microwave. Yes, we all do it. At least once in our lifetime, we've done this.
Next meme. Janny, I think you and I, this is us right now. Me. I need to stop spending so much on coffee. Starbucks releases holiday cups and drinks. Me. We just swallow it home.
Is that app. That app makes it way too easy to order coffee through Starbucks.
Those bonus points, baby.
And those bonus points, that's how they get you.
I think a lot of artists can relate to this. When you check your bank account and it's negative $3.78. Man, I've been there. Stop playing. Look at his face, though.
Well, he's trying to figure out how we got to that negative $3.78.
No, and
I don't remember spending all my money.
No, and then you get drafted like an extra 25 because you went negative. So it's kind of just.
It's like, how are you going to take more money away from me when you know I'm already broke? Like, I can afford to pay the $25 fee.
I think this is the artist way. A little Christmas bonus one. Bonus meme.
Me getting some water at midnight to see my dad, not Santa, putting presents under the tree. The struggle is real. So that's a wrap. That's it from us. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. If you want to keep up with our content, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And until the next time,